Hey guys, so today I'm making my birth plans video. I got most of my information on Baby Center, so this is just a spreadsheet of what I want for my labor and delivery. I haven't talked about it to my doctor yet. So, first of all, I do not want any medical assistant or any medical student assistant during my labor and delivery because I think it's super awkward. During my first trimester, like a few times, I went to the emergencies because I was bleeding and I thought I was losing my baby, and there were some medical assistants that were students, and it was super awkward because there were like 5 people in the room, and there was and the doctor, it was a guy that was like almost my age, and it was super awkward, and I do not want this during my labor and delivery because yeah, I will just not feel comfortable. And so I'm gonna ask, if this is to happen, I would ask them to leave the room. Also, you can wear your own clothes during the labor and delivery, and I am probably gonna wear some of my clothes because I don't know, I might just wear some kind of nightwear or some dress that I don't really use that often. Or maybe if they have some kind of comfy little nightwear or something that I can use during labor and delivery, then I will. I want to wear something that's in cotton, and anything that would not be in cotton, I would not wear. So unless I needed a C-section, and I would need to wear some special weird clothes. But otherwise, I will probably bring a dress that is kind of old and just use this during labor because I'm not gonna like fancy or whatever. Obviously, it's gonna get dirty, so there's no point in this. You can have an epidural if you want to. However, I do not want an epidural. I want a natural labor. I want it as natural as possible. I'm asking to go in those special rooms that they call, in France they call them salle physiologique, so physiological room. I do not know. And basically inside there's like a chair, there's a bed, there's also a birth pool, there's a yoga ball, and I don't know. I haven't visited the room yet. I'm gonna visit it on the 13th of May, but I know that there's at least those things, and I really want to, I'd really like to do different positions too because I just don't want to be on a bed during all my labor and delivery. I don't know. I will just want to try more things, and I'm pretty open to all like different positions and all of that. And we're gonna learn them on the 13th of May too, because I have a birth class, and the midwife is gonna talk about different positions that you can opt for, and we're gonna visit the rooms and all of that, and she's gonna talk about what happens when you get back home with a baby. Of course, to help with the pain, there's the breathing techniques that I have learned some during my birth classes because I do sophrology and yoga classes, and we do learn uh, breathing techniques, and it's really good for those who don't want epidural because it's gonna be really, really painful. I know it's gonna be really hard, and that I'm gonna spend some really tough hours during my labor because I do not want an epidural, but I'm convinced that I don't want any unless I don't know, unless I need to get induced, then I would probably get an epidural. My mom, when she had my little sister, so like her last baby, she was induced, and she didn't want the epidural, and she said it was so sore, it was the most horrible thing ever, and she really regrets not like she regrets getting induced. She says she should have waited, but yeah, she was just not having enough contractions, and she was just in labor for ages, so she asked if she could get induced, but she said it was the worst thing ever. Don't get induced if you don't have the epidural. And so that would be the only reason why I'd get an epidural, but I hope that this won't happen. Usually in France, you need to get induced if your water broke within the past 12 hours and you don't have enough contractions, baby is not low enough or not dilated enough, then you need to get induced because it can be dangerous once the water broke, because the baby could get an infection. Also during the labor, of course, they put a monitoring on your belly. I'm not sure that you call this monitoring in America, and it just measures your baby's heart and the mother's contractions. And one thing that I forgot to say, sorry, I know it's all over the place, is that for the first baby, you go to the hospital if you, well, here in France anyway, in my hospital, you go to the hospital if you have contractions every five minutes and it has been lasting for 3 hours. Then you go to the hospital. Or um, if your water broke, then you have to go to the hospital, but you're not in a rush. You can, take the time to take your bag, put it in the car. I mean, you're not in a huge rush as long as you're not like so much in pain with the contractions. Here in France, when you're in active labor, you cannot eat, you cannot drink, just in case you need an emergency C-section, because during surgery, if you throw up, you can choke and things like that. They ask us, it's actually on the list to bring to the hospital. They ask us to bring this thing. It's called, in French it's called a brumisateur, but I have no idea how you call it in English. It's like a spray of water. So it's like that, and you put it on your face and it just spreads water. And it's really good. It's a must have during labor. And so yeah, I won't be able to eat or drink, so I will bring some kind of sweets to just so I can have some kind of flavor in my mouth, because my mouth would be so dry and all of that. So I will definitely bring some sweets. I totally want Julian to feel like he is part of this labor and delivery. So this is why on the 13th of May we're gonna learn new position, like different positions, and the daddy is completely involved, and the midwife is gonna show us what kind of massage the daddy can give us during labor. Well, I'm gonna tell you the reasons why I do not want an epidural. Once again, sorry, this is all over the place. First of all, I've been taking medicines, so much medicines all my life. Now, it sucks because my immune system is pretty bad. I've been taking so many medicines during all my childhood, and that I've decided that I want to stop taking medicines for no reason. And here, I know that I'm going to be in very much pain, and it's going to be really hard, but I want to avoid it because I know I can avoid it. I know I can fight against this pain. I mean, I'm not the only woman here. I mean, it happens to loads of women every day who give birth without an epidural. If they can do it, I can do it too. And of course, there are risks to this anesthesia. There are risks to everything, of course. And I know that a lot of women get epidurals every day and that they don't have any problems, but sometimes bad things happen too, and some women have gotten paralyzed because they had taken the epidural. Once again, I know that the risks are extremely low, but the thing is that you never know what can happen, and I don't want to take the risk, and I don't want to be laying down on a bed for like hours and hours and hours and just be like that. You cannot even go to the toilet because you're like, you can't feel your legs anymore when you have the epidural, and I don't want that. I want to be able to walk, to go on in the bathtub, get out of it alone, and go pee if I want to pee. During my labor, of course, I want children to be here. That's the most important thing. And I want my mom to be here. At first, I didn't want to, but Julian really wants my mom to be here. He said either your sister or your mom, because he does not understand French. And he was really worried that if something happened to me or to the baby, that he would not understand anything and that he'd get freaked out. So he wants my mom to be here so that she can translate for him, because I will not be able to translate. I will be too much in pain and I will really not be in the mood for that. So at least my mom can do that. I want to have pictures and videos also, if we can, of my labor. So I'm gonna ask my mom to take care of that. At first, she really didn't want to, because she was like, she doesn't want to see me suffer. So, but I kind of insisted, and she said okay. So she will take videos, but not, of course, not of my private parts. She will film from an angle that you can only see the baby come out, but not my private part. Anyway, so, and also, of course, there's the midwife that is going to tell me when I need to push, for how long I need to push. I've seen people apparently using mirrors when they're like giving birth. I don't know if I'd like to look at the mirror while I'm delivering Tegan. First of all, because I find it a bit gross, especially if I'm like torn and things like that. It might freak me out more than anything. And yeah, I don't think I'd be too much in pain to concentrate on a mirror, I think. I know that in America it's very like trendy, that the daddy holds the baby, that he catches the baby as he's about to come out, but here in France I've never heard of it, and I've absolutely never heard of anyone doing that. I've read different forums, I talked to different people on blogs, and I have never read something like that. So I don't think they do it here, and I am going to ask the midwife if June could do that. Maybe we'll just ask her on the due day, because I mean it's not like super important, of course, but Julian asked me if he could do that because he would really like to do that. I'm super against episiotomy. If I'm gonna get torn, then I will get torn, but I don't want the gynecologist to do an episiotomy. But I don't think he's like into that kind of stuff, because he's really into like natural labor and all. He checked me like 2 weeks ago, and he told me that the baby would have a lot of space to get out, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. I want to hold my baby as soon as possible when he's born. Of course, if he has no defect, if he is perfect, I really want him straight away. and I want to breastfeed as soon as possible also. So, because it's very crucial to give the boob after between 30 minutes and 1 hour after you've given birth. So yes, I want this to happen this way, but of course if he needs some special needs once he's out, then it will probably not be able I will probably not be able to do that, but we will see. Hopefully for now everything is okay. And as for the placenta coming out, I mean, some women don't even feel it coming out. Some women need to push. In the meantime, very often, actually, the woman is holding the baby while the placenta is coming out. Sometimes you need to push. If I need to push, then I'd like Julian to stay with the baby